Good day everyone. Hopefully na iintindihan ninyo kung bakit tayo nagre-record ng lecture and aware naman kayo na palaging natatamaan yung lecture schedule natin ng walang pasok. So hopefully talagang panoorin ninyo at intindihin kung ano man yung mala-lecture natin ngayon. Kung hindi nyo man maintindihan yung iba't ibang terminologies, napakadami na po nating tools katulad na lang ng artificial intelligence and internet na pwede nating gamitin para mas maintindihan natin yung terminologies. So kailangan lang nating gamitin ng maigi yung AI. Alright? And of course, kung hindi nyo pa rin maintindihan, pwede nyo akong tanungin for further clarification and verification. And another thing, never re-upload our lecture without my consent. Okay? So our midterm topic is all about the nature and composition of plants. So in this topic, mapag-aaralan natin yung plants in its cellular level. Ano ba yung bumubuo sa plants? Bakit ba natin kailangang i-memorize yung mga iba't ibang functions ng cell? Bakit ba natin kailangang i-familiarize kung paano nabubuo yung plant tissue? Ano ba yung iba't ibang klase ng plant tissue? And ano ba yung nagiging function or benefit nito pagdating sa plants? Paano ba nabubuo yung iba't ibang organs? Okay? And ano ba yung epekto nito kapag yung isang organ ay nasira? Mabubuo pa ba yung system ng plant? So lahat ng yon mapag-aaralan natin dito sa ating topic na the nature and composition of plants. Pero bago yon, let us define what is a plant. So it is a living organism na distinct from animals and with unique features. Kung titignan natin yung physical characteristics ng plants versus animals, of course, makikita na natin kaagad kung ano yung pinagkaiba nila. And aside from the physical characteristics, meron silang pinagkaiba in terms of their cellular level. Okay? So unang-una na, plants have rigid cell walls promoting indefinite growth. Anong ibig sabihin yan? So unlike animals, plant cells have strong walls made up of cellulose. And itong cellulose na to, nakakapag-provide siya ng support and it allows them to grow indefinitely. Palagi yung tatandaan, plants grow indefinitely. So meaning, plants can keep growing throughout their lives. So kahit na nagmamature ito, nang nagmamature, ma-observe ninyo na yung plants ay tuloy-tuloy lang yung pag-increase sa length and pag-increase sa height. And mapapansin rin ninyo na as the plant matures, nadadagdagan siya ng plant organs, katulad na lang ng leaves, flowers, branches, and etc. So unlike animals whose growth typically stops at a certain point, no-observe niyo no, na kapag nag-mature na yung unlike animals, kapag nag-mature na yung animals, kung ilan lang talaga yung number ng kanyang legs, number ng kanyang mata, number ng kanyang kamay, yun lang talaga. So kahit na mag-mature pa yung animals, hindi na madadagdagan yung kanyang height. Hindi na nadadagdagan yung kanyang eyes or yung kanyang mga paa. So compared to plants na meron silang indefinite growth. So hopefully na-gets ninyo kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng indefinite growth. So another one ay the synthesis of organic food materials are from inorganic materials obtained from soil, water, air, or from other organisms. So, ibig sabihin, ang plants ay may kakayahang mag-produce ng kanilang food using inorganic materials like minerals na nanggagaling sa soil, nanggagaling sa water, and air. So, nagagawa ito ng plants through the process called photosynthesis. And aware naman na tayo kung ano yung process ng photosynthesis dahil palagi po itong nadidiscuss nung tayo ay high school pa lang. And yun nga, this is different from animals which must consume food to get their nutrients. So, ibig sabihin, ang animals ay walang kakayahang mag-produce sa kanilang sarili ng kanilang sariling pagkain. So, kinakailangan nilang kumain para magkaroon or makapag-absorb ng nutrients. And also, plant interact with other organisms na kadalasan from that organisms nakakakuha na sila ng nutrients. Okay? Next is the plant is the primary food producer on the earth by converting light energy into chemical energy in the process of photosynthesis. Again, photosynthesis. So, ibig sabihin, ang plants, they take in inorganic materials like water and minerals from the soil, as well as carbon dioxide from the air. So, using sunlight as energy, plants convert these materials into organic food substances, such as sugars. And this process transforms the light energy into chemical energy na kung saan ginagamit ito ng ating halaman, which fuels the plant's growth and development. Okay? So hopefully nagagets ninyo kung ano yung definition ng plant and kung ano ba yung pinagkaiba nila sa animals. Okay? So, plant cell. Ano nga ba yung tinatawag na cell? Allow me to read the definition of cell. It is the basic structural, functional, and biological unit of all living organisms. It is the smallest unit capable of performing life function. So, ibig sabihin, ang cell po, it is the basic building block or it is the basic unit of life. Okay? So, it is the smallest part of organism that can carry out essential life function. So, ibig sabihin, every living organisms, whether it is a tiny bacterium or a large tree, it is made up of cells. And cells perform vital tasks na nakakatulong sa isang organisms to grow, reproduce, and respond sa kanilang environment. So, ibig sabihin, kapag walang nag-e-exist na cell, wala ring mag-e-exist na life sa Earth. Okay? Next, a cell contains various organelles and a group of similar cells forms tissues. So, ibig sabihin, ang cell ay merong organelles and these organelles are specialized structures within a cell that perform a specific function na necessary for the cell's survival and proper functioning. And to summarize, kung ano man yung nandito, ang sinasabi lang dito is kapag nagsama-sama ang iba't ibang cell, nakakabuo yan ng tissue. And multiple tissues, kapag nagsama-sama, nakakabuo yan ng organs. Okay, so sa plants, kapag nagsama-sama yung organs and nag-function sila all together, nakakabuo na yan ng system. And yung system na to, collectively, it make up the entire plants. Okay? So ano-ano ba yung function ng cell? So, unang-una, it manufactures, transport, and store food. So, ang cell po ay nagpo-produce ng energy by converting nutrients into usable forms na kayang i-absorb and i-utilize ng ating plants. So, for example, ang plant cells, okay, meron niyang chloroplast na kung saan kinakapture niya yung sunlight to produce food through photosynthesis. And the food is then transported and stored for later use. Okay? Next. Cell uptake and transport water. So yun, ang ibig sabihin niyan, ina-absorb ng cell and tinatransport nito yung, ina-absorb ng cell yung water and then tinatransport nito ito sa iba't ibang parts ng halaman. So, yung root cells are particularly efficient in absorbing water and nutrients sa lupa natin and sinasend ng cell through the plant's vascular system yung na-absorb niyang water and nutrients from the soil. Next, provision of structural strength. So, ibig sabihin, ang cell ay nagbibigay ng structure and strength. So, in plants, meron itong tinatawag na cell wall na kung saan nagpo-provide ng rigidity. So, ibig sabihin, tinutulungan niya yung plants to maintain its shape and ma-withstand kung ano man yung environmental stresses like water and wind na maaaring tumama sa ating halaman. So kung mapapansin ninyo, kahit na nagkaroon man ng ulan, as long as hindi sobrang lakas or nagkaroon ng bagyo, as long as hindi naman sobrang destructive, na maintain pa rin ng halaman yung kanilang structure or yung kanilang shape. And that is because of the cell wall na pumoprotekta doon sa cell ng halaman. Okay? Next, suppression of water loss and division to attain new forms. Okay? So yung cell, nakakatulong yan sa pag-regulate ng water loss, particularly sa ating plants. So yung outer layer ng plant cell natin, okay, meron yang tinatawag na cuticle. And it is kung mapapansin niyo para siyang yung halaman natin para siyang may wax. So yung wax na na-observe niyo sa halaman natin, yun yung tinatawag na cuticle. And it prevents excess water loss. And aside from that, cells also divide to form new tissues na kung saan inaalaw niya yung growth and adaptation to different forms such as developing new leaves and roots. Okay? So for example, no, sa ating trees, okay? So yung root cells, inaabsorb niya yung water from the soil. Yung leaf cells naman, ginagamit niya yung sunlight to manufacture food through photosynthesis. And on the other hand, yung stem cells, ito naman yung responsible for storing nutrients and providing structural support sa ating halaman. And all of these functions together to help the tree grow and stay healthy. So yun, all in all, yan po yung function ng cell. Okay? And there are two types of cell based on the structure. Okay? Nandyan si prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So bakit ba natin kailangang pag-aralan yung dalawang klase ng cell based on the structure? So unang-una, plants are made up of eukaryotic cell. Kailangan nating tandaan yan. And knowing the structure and function of eukaryotic cells, matutulungan tayo na maintindihan kung paano ba talaga nag-grow, nagre-reproduce, and nagpa-perform ng vital functions like photosynthesis and nutrient absorption ang isang halaman. Okay? So pangalawa, microbial interactions. So karamihan ng microbes involved in soil health, plant growth, and disease prevention ay meron silang prokaryotic cell. So yung structure ng bacteria ay prokaryotic cell. So understanding their cellular structure, natutulungan tayong ma-manage yung beneficial microorganisms and nakokontrol din natin yung harmful microorganisms na maaaring makapagdala ng sakit sa ating halaman. So another thing is, many plant diseases are caused by prokaryotic organisms, katulad na lang ng bacteria. So once na napag-aralan natin kung ano ba yung pinagkaiba ng prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell and na-recognize natin yung differences in cell structure, nakakatulong yan sa pag-develop ng targeted approach for disease management and ma-ensure natin yung mga activities or practices na ginagawa natin sa field ay talagang effective para makontrol yung mga disease ng ating mga crops. Okay? And another thing is prokaryotes, katulad na lang ng bacteria, they play a crucial role in nutrient cycling and soil fertility. So understanding the biology of these organisms, it will support sustainable agricultural practices na kung saan maaari tayong makapag-develop or maaari nating ma-enhance yung crop yield and soil health. Okay? So, and as you can see, sa ating illustration, makikita nyo na kaagad kung ano ba yung pinagkaiba ng prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Okay? So dito pa lang sa parts ng prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, makikita nyo na napakasimple ng prokaryotic cell compared kay eukaryotic cells. Okay? Allow me to read the definition of prokaryotic cell. It is a type of cell found in organisms like bacteria and blue-green algae, and these cells do not have nucleus or other membrane-bound structures na tinatawag nating organelles inside them. They are generally smaller and simpler in structure compared to other cell types. So isa-isahin natin para mas magets natin. So nabanggit dyan na wala pong nucleus ang prokaryotes. Okay? So ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating nucleus kasi, it is a part of cell that usually contains its genetic material or DNA. So ibig sabihin, yung DNA ng prokaryotic ay, kung ma-observe niyo sa microscope, naka-float lang yan, okay, sa ating prokaryotes. And also, nabanggit din dyan na napakasimple ng structure ng prokaryotes. And prokaryotic cells are generally smaller and simpler than eukaryotic cell. Okay? So, katulad na lang ng plants or animals, makikita ninyo, balikan natin, napakaraming or napaka-complex ng eukaryotic cell. Okay? So, they lack many of the complex structure known as organelles. And organelles are found in more advanced cells, which is later on, madidiscuss natin yung iba't ibang types ng organelles. And it is also mentioned na yun nga, unlike other cells, prokaryotic cells do not have organelles that are surrounded by membrane. So, ibig sabihin, they don't have compartments for carrying out special functions which makes them more straightforward. So, yan. It's all in all, ang ibig sabihin lang, napakasimple ng structure ng prokaryotic cell. Ulit. Next is eukaryotic cell. So, compared to prokaryotic cell, it is more complex type of cell found in organisms like plants, animals, fungi, and protists. And based from the definition, eukaryotic cells have nucleus. And again, nucleus is a membrane-bound structure that contains the cell genetic makeup or DNA. So this allows for better regulation and protection of DNA. All right? And these cells contain various organelles that are also surrounded by membranes. And yung importanteng organelles na meron ang eukaryotic cell ay mitochondria and plastids. So si mitochondria, siguro familiar na kayo, no? Na tinatawag din siyang powerhouse of the cell dahil nagpuproduce siya ng energy through respiration. Okay? And si plastids naman, natatagpuan ito mainly in plant cells, specifically yung chloroplast, and these are involved in photosynthesis and storage of starches and pigments. And ang isa sa pinaka ma-observe niyo dito sa structure ng eukaryotic cell, this cell is generally larger and more complex than prokaryotic cells, meaning they have specialized structures that allow them to perform various functions efficiently. And it is made up of a wide range of organisms, from single-celled protists to multicellular plants and animals. And each type of eukaryotic cell is adapted to its specific functions in organisms. Now, naalam na natin kung anong pinagkaiba ng prokaryotic cell sa eukaryotic cell, and alam naman na natin na ang plants ay merong eukaryotic cell. Ibig sabihin, pag-aaralan natin isa-isa yung parts ng plant cell. Okay? Hopefully ready kayo dito. And kailangan po nating i-memorize halos lahat ito. Okay? So bakit kailangang i-memorize? Of course, hindi nyo maiintindihan ng isang bagay kung hindi nyo alam or hindi nyo na-memorize ang isang terminology. And after that, of course, after nyo i-memorize, kailangan nyo intindihin and i-familiarize. So lahat ng aspeto na yon kailangan ninyong i-apply sa pag-aaral ng plant cell. And dito sa ating discussion, dinivide ko po sa 3 main parts parts ng plant cell, which are the cell wall, protoplasm, and vacuoles. Unahin muna natin si cell wall. Ayan. So the cell wall is a tough outer layer. Ito. Ayan. Outer layer ng plant cell. And it is not alive. So kaya dito sinabi na it is non-living part of the cell. And it is mainly made from substances like cellulose, pectin, and lignin. So ang purpose ng cell wall natin is to protect, ayan, protect the inner living part of the cell called protoplast. And it also helps the cell keeps its shape. So napapanatili ng cell wall yung shape ng halaman. Aside from sa pagpoprotekta ng inner part ng cell, okay, napapanatili niya pa yung shape ng cell wall. And in certain parts of the plant, katulad na lang ng bark and wood, ang cell wall ay nagpo-provide ng extra strength and tinutulungan niya rin yung plant to stand tall and strong. Okay? So, ang kailangan yung tandaan dito kapag sinabing cell wall, again, it is the non-living part of the cell. Excuse me. Pangalawa, it protects the inner part of the cell. Pangatlo, it keeps the shape of the cell. Okay? Next, protoplasm. So, si protoplasm, it is, compared to cell wall, si protoplasm is the living substance inside a cell, or it is the living part of a cell, which includes the cytoplasm, nucleus, and other parts. And it carries out all the important tasks na nakakatulong sa cell para mabuhay ito. Katulad na lamang ng pag-produce ng energy, pag-grow, and pag-respond sa any changes sa environment. So essentially, it is what makes the cell alive and able to function. Okay? Kapag wala yung protoplasm, hindi mabubuhay ang cell and hindi rin magfa-function yung iba't ibang parts na nasa loob ng protoplasm. And it consists of two main parts. The first one is the nucleus. Yan, makikita naman natin sa ating illustration kung nasan dyan si nucleus. So, kumbaga, si nucleus, it considered as the control center of the cell. Kumbaga, para siyang yung utak ng cell. Why? Because sabi nga natin kanina, it holds the cell's DNA, which contains instructions for everything na ginagawa ng cell. And the nucleus controls important activities such as growth, metabolism, and reproduction by managing which genes are used and when, ensuring the cell functions properly. So, lagi niyong tatandaan, si nucleus, it contains the DNA and, ayun, para siyang utak ng cell na kung saan siya rin yung nagko-contain ng instruction sa loob ng cell. Okay? So, siya yung nagmamanage kung ano ba yung genes na pwedeng gamitin or kung kailan ba dapat gamitin yung genes na yon para makapag-function ng maayos ang cell. Okay? Excuse me. Next. Okay, si mitochondria naman, it is known as the powerhouse of the cell dahil ito yung responsible sa pag-produce ng energy that the cell needs to function. Okay? So, mitochondria take the nutrients from the food and later on through the process of cellular respiration, kino-convert niya yung food na yon into a form of energy called adenosine triphosphate. Again, kino-convert ng mitochondria yung nutrients from the food into a form of energy called adenosine triphosphate, which later on, it powers many of the cell's activities during the process. Okay? So, lagi niyong tandaan, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Next, ribosomes. So, these are small structures in the cell wherein dito nagagawa yung protein. So, si ribosome, they take instruction from the cell's DNA and use amino acid, which is the building block of proteins, to assemble them into proteins. Okay? So itong proteins na to ay napaka-importante sa iba't ibang function, katulad na lang ng pagre-repair ng cell. Halimbawa, nasira yung cell ng halaman, nagkaroon ng sugat. Si ribosome ang responsible sa pag-repair ng cell na yan. So, nagbi-build siya ng panibagong cell parts. And nare-regulate din niya yung chemical processes sa body ng cell. So, kung mapapansin nyo, kapag nasugat ang halaman, di ba? Para siyang sa tao pag nasugat tayo, gumagaling and then nag-generate ng panibagong skin. Yun yung, kumbaga, counterpart ng skin natin sa plants, yung ribosome. Nire-repair niya yung cell ng nire-repair niya yung part ng nasirang plant cell para makapag-build ng panibagong cell parts. Okay? Next is the endoplasmic reticulum. So si endoplasmic reticulum or ER, it is a network of membranes in the cell that has ribosomes. Okay? So pag sinabi nating rough ER, ito yung endoplasmic reticulum na naka-attach sa surface. Kaya siya tinawag na rough kasi kapag naka-attach ito sa surface, nagkakaroon siya ng parang rough na structure or appearance. And it plays a key role in making and processing proteins. So yung ribosomes on the rough ER, tinutulungan niyang makapag-assemble ng proteins, and yung rough ER naman, ang ginagawa niya doon sa protein, minomodify niya yung protein na yon para bago niya isend doon sa iba't ibang destination, ay maayos na. So, sinasend niya ito sa either inside or outside the cell. Okay? Next is the smooth ER or smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So, itong smooth ER naman, compared kay rough ER, wala po siyang ribosome. Okay? So instead, it is mainly responsible for creating lipids or yung fats. And sa pag-create niya ng lipids or fats, aside from that, tinutulungan niya ring ma-detoxify yung harmful substances sa cell. So in other words, pwede niyong isipin na yung smooth ER ay part ng cell na makes oil and helps clean up any toxic materials. Okay? So balikan natin. Si rough ER, okay, nag-a-assemble siya ng proteins and minomodify niya ito bago pumunta sa iba't ibang destination ng cell, either inside or outside ng cell. Samantalang si smooth ER, ito naman yung responsible sa pag-create ng lipids or fats, and aside from that, tinutulungan niya pang i-clean up yung any toxic materials sa cell. Yun yung pinagkaiba nila. Okay? Next, Golgi bodies or Golgi apparatus. So, ang main job nito ay kinukuha niya yung proteins and lipids that have been made in the cell, okay, by the rough ER and smooth ER, and then minomodify niya. Chine-change niya ito ng bahagya para maging ready ito for use ng ating cell. Sinusort din niya ito, dinidecide niya kung saan ba ito dapat mapunta. And pinapackage niya din ito. So once na na-package na yung protein and fats, they can be sent out of the cell or used inside the cell. So isipin niyo na parang delivery service ang Golgi bodies or Golgi apparatus na kung saan ini-ensure niya na everything is in the right place and ready for use yung protein and fats. Okay? Next is lysosomes. So lysosomes act as the cell's clean-up crew. Okay, so they contain special proteins called enzymes that help break down waste materials, leftover parts of the cell, and any harmful substances that don't belong in the cell. So kumbaga si lysosomes, sila yung trash collector sa cell, and nire-recycle nila ito sa center ng cell, making sure that everything stays clean and functioning properly. Kumbaga parang janitor si lysosomes sa loob ng cell. Okay? Next, plastids. So si plastids, these are involved in the synthesis and storage of foods. So ibig sabihin, nakakatulong ito sa paggawa and pag-store ng food. And these are essential for the growth and survival of the plants. And si plastids, meron siyang tatlong klase. So nandyan si chloroplast, chromoplast, and leucoplast. Si chloroplast, these are parts of plant cells that contains the green pigment of the plant called chlorophyll. Okay? And itong chlorophyll na to, it play a role in photosynthesis na kung saan, yun nga yung process ng paggawa ng halaman ng kanyang sariling pagkain. So ginagamit ng halaman yung sunlight to make food or yung glucose by converting light energy into chemical energy. So again, si chloroplast, siya yung responsible for the process photosynthesis and siya rin yung nagbibigay ng green pigment or ng green color sa plants. But again, kung i-observe ninyo yung plants natin, hindi lang naman kulay green ang present na pigment doon. So, nandyan si chromoplast. It is a special structure in plant cells that create and again store pigments. So, aside from green pigment, okay, yung pigment na binibigay or kinikreate ng chromoplast ay nagbibigay ng vibrant colors sa fruits, flowers, and some leaves. Na kung saan itong pigments na to, yung blue, red, violet, which natutulungan niya yung halaman to attract pollinators or si chromoplast din yung responsible sa pag-signal na yung fruits ay maaaring ripe na or pwede nang i-harvest or hinog na. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, ang chromoplast ay importante sa reproductive and survival strategies ng ating halaman. Okay? Next, si leucoplast. Compared po kay chloroplast and chromoplast na nagki-create ng pigments, si leucoplast ay specialized structure in plants na hindi nagki-create ng pigment bagkus sila ay nag-i-store ng essential materials katulad na lang ng starch, lipids, or proteins. So they are typically found in parts of the plant that do not undergo photosynthesis, katulad na lang ng roots, seeds, and tubers. Okay? So, ang main role ng leucoplast is to store energy reserves that the plant can use later for growth and development. Okay? Next is vacuoles, last but not the least. Okay, sabi dito, allow me to read the definition of vacuoles. It acts as a storage center inside plant cells. They hold water-soluble pigments like anthocyanin, which gives plants their blue and red colors, as well as inorganic salts, alkaloids na maaaring maging toxic, and other substances. So, ibig sabihin, okay, they act as storage centers, hinuhold niya yung water, nutrients, waste products, and other materials essential for plants' survival and growth. And one of their primary function is to, again, store water-soluble pigments katulad ng anthocyanin, which are responsible for the vibrant blue, purple, red colors na maaari nating makita sa karamihan po ng plants, especially or specifically sa flowers, fruits, and leaves. And these pigments not only contribute to the plant's appearance, but also nagsiserve din ito ng important ecological roles. For instance, yung bright color ng flower or ng fruit or ng leaves, it can attract pollinators to flowers or signal to animals na yung fruits ay already ripened or ready to eat na. Okay? In addition to the pigments, vacuoles store a variety of other substances katulad na lang ng inorganic salts and organic molecules. So yung alkaloids na nabanggit natin kanina, which are sometimes toxic, na-store din yan sa vacuoles. And these toxic compounds can act as a defense mechanism para ma-determine ng halaman kung herbivores ba yung lumalapit sa kanya or yung kumakain ng halaman, okay? So kapag na-detect ng halaman na herbivores yung nandyan or kumakain ng halaman, magre-release siya ng toxic substances. Okay? And other than that, itong vacuoles naman, pinoprotektahan rin niya yung halaman from pest. So other stored substances include enzymes, sugars, and proteins, which can be used for energy or growth when needed. Okay? So aside dun sa nabanggit natin kanina, vacuoles also help maintain the plant cells' turgor pressure. So which is the pressure of the cell contents against the cell wall. Okay? And itong pressure na to, napaka-crucial yan for maintaining the plant's rigidity and upright structure. So ibig sabihin na maintain din ng vacuoles yung shape ng plant and yung pagtayo niya. Okay, yung structure. So kaya na-maintain ng plants yung kanyang structure na nakatayo lang dahil din kay vacuoles. And ayun, when vacuoles are filled with water, they exert pressure on the cell wall, helping the plant remain firm and stand tall. So in conditions where water is scarce or kapag may kakulangan sa tubig, of course, yung vacuoles, it also loses water. So leading to a loss of turgor pressure, causing the plant to wilt. Mapapansin nyo naman na kapag dry na yung plant, di ba? Nagiging lanta siya. Okay? So ibig sabihin nun, kulang na yung tubig doon sa vacuoles. Okay? So moreover, ang vacuoles ay nag-i-aid din yan as detoxification ng cell. So sa paanong paraan? Ina-isolate niya yung mga harmful substances and bine-breakdown niya ito or ini-store niya ito palayo sa cell's metabolic activities. And they also play a role in regulating the internal pH of the cell and maintain din yung ionic balance. Okay? So lahat ng nabanggit natin kanina, lahat ng yan ay parte po ng plant cell. And lahat yan, kailangan nyo pong i-memorize lahat ng terminologies and kailangan nyo pong i-memorize and intindihin and i-familiarize lahat ng function ng ating plant cell. And later on, malalaman natin kung bakit ba importanteng i-memorize at pag-aralan yung plant cell bukod doon sa pagkakaroon nila ng unique function. Okay? So sa susunod kasi nating topic, which is the plant tissue, mabubuo ang ating plant tissue kapag nagsama-sama na ang bawat parte ng cell. Okay? So that is our next topic and hopefully nakinig kayo and natuto. So kung may question kayo, bago nyo po sa akin itanong, try to research, try to figure it out by using tools on the internet. You can use AI. So gamitin nyo lang sa tama palagi yung artificial intelligence tools natin. And kapag hindi pa rin talaga maintindihan, that's the time na mag-clarify kayo and mag-ask kayo ng question.